Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a sector that's really the backbone of India agriculture. It provides livelihoods for, over 45% of the population.
Is, right? A huge number.
But it's facing some serious headwinds, climate change, market ups and downs, a whole range of things making life tough for millions.
Absolutely immense pressure.
So our mission today is to take a deep dive into something called AgriStack. It's this robust digital framework that's not just aiming to fix problems, but potentially transform Indian agriculture.
And crucially, the financial services that support it. That connection is key.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this then. What is AgriStack really, and why is everyone calling it a key enabler for, sustainable and inclusive development?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is that AgriStack is essentially being built as this unified digital platform. It's designed really from the ground up for data-driven decisions.
A single platform for everything.
Kind of like a single window, yeah.
Yep.
Giving a holistic view of, everything from specific farming practices, land use, crop patterns, even detailed farmer profiles.
Wow.
Its main goal is driving efficiency and innovation. But maybe even more importantly, it's a direct attempt to tackle that persistent problem of financial exclusion for India's small and marginal farmers. It's about, digital empowerment for everyone involved.
That idea of bringing everyone into the digital fold, that sounds incredibly powerful. But integrating such a vast, diverse sector, millions of farmers, that must be unbelievably complex, right? What are the big hurdles? Maybe even some skepticism about it.
Oh, absolutely. The scale itself is a massive hurdle. But the biggest challenge, and honestly the main reason for AgriStack, is the fragmentation.
Fragmentation.
Yeah. Before AgriStack, there just wasn't a single unified database for farmers or for land ownership or even knowing what crops were being grown where. It sounds simple, but it's not just an inconvenience. It directly fuels so many of those problems you mentioned earlier. Issues with credit, problems in the supply chain. That's the core insight, really, driving AgriStack's design. Solve this fundamental data problem first.
That really puts it into perspective. Look at the numbers. Indian agriculture added something like INR 23.5 lakh crore.
Which is roughly 2.8 trillion US dollars.
Yeah, to the gross value added in FY24 and produced, 332 million tons of food grains? Massive output.
It's monumental.
Yet we've seen growth rates dipping, right? From about 4.1% down to 3.3% recently. For such a vital industry, what does that drop really tell us? How urgent is this need for change?
It tells us the sector is under enormous strain. Despite its huge contribution, it's operating below its potential. Those declining growth rates are a clear signal, I think, that just tinkering around the edges isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
We need something more systemic to support farmers facing these, fundamental challenges.
Totally agree. And when you look at the specific pain points, it becomes clear why. Farmers are constantly fighting reliance on monsoons, often using older techniques, dealing with high costs for seeds, fertilizer.
What cost? Yeah.
And then the market prices just swing wildly. Plus, the whole supply chain infrastructure often isn't great, right? Getting food from the farm to the market efficiently.
Exactly.
But what you said about the fragmented information, that seems like the root cause underneath so many of these things.
Absolutely. That lack of a unified database hits everything, but especially credit flow. Now, agricultural credit overall has grown phenomenally.
And numbers are huge, aren't they?
They really are. From INR 46,000 crore back in 99-2000 to almost INR 14 lakh crore by 2019-20. That's nearly a 20% compound annual growth rate. And it hit INR 25 lakh crore in FY24.
Incredible growth.
And this is the crucial, but a significant chunk of the farming population, especially those small and marginal farmers, are still severely underbanked.
So the money is flowing, but not necessarily to everyone who needs it. It's not equitable.
Precisely. You see this really disproportionate distribution, like nearly half, 48% of all agricultural loans go to just 5 southern states.
Only 5.
Yeah, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. And get this, those states only account for about 17% of India's total cropped area.
Wow, that's a huge imbalance.
It really highlights that the current credit systems aren't effectively reaching, the farmers who need it most across the whole country, particularly the smaller ones.
Right, which for banks and other financial institutions means a whole heap of challenges. Limited access for many farmers pushes them towards expensive informal lenders.
Exactly, the loan sharks, basically.
Then you have these complex, really time-consuming loan processes, application, onboarding, assessing risk.
All the paperwork, the verification.
Yeah, and subsidy misalignment, where maybe the support isn't going where it's most needed geographically. It really begs the question, how do you get resources to the people who need them most efficiently and fairly?
And that is exactly where AgriStack comes in. It's the potential answer to that billion-dollar question.
Okay, so enter AgriStack. This isn't just some random tech project, right? It's India's digital public infrastructure DPI, specifically for agriculture.
Like Aadhaar or UPI, but for farming.
Exactly. And it's leveraging all this modern tech IoT sensors on farms, drones for surveys, precision farming methods, AI for analysis, stuff that's already showing promise globally.
And attracting investment, too. You mentioned the USD 4.5 billion into Indian agri-tech startups. That shows the interest.
And it connects to the wider India stack, right? The foundation with Aadhaar for ID, UPI for payments, eKYC, DigiLocker for documents.
Correct. Built on those same layers.
Right.
Presence-less authentication, paperless documents, cashless transactions, and, crucially, consent giving individuals control over their data.
So how does AgriStack actually work? How does it bring all this together?
Well, think of it as this comprehensive digital ecosystem. It integrates all sorts of data sources, crop details, land ownership records, weather forecasts, soil health reports, market prices, all pulled together.
Onto one platform.
Right. And the point isn't just to have the data, it's to provide personalized, actionable insights directly back to the farmers to empower their decisions.
And it's moving pretty fast, isn't it? Conceptualized in 2020, pilots in 2022.
And now this ambitious plan from the recent budget covers 60 million farmers and their land records in the next 3 years. That's a rapid scale-up, aimed squarely at fixing that fragmentation problem we talked about.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. To make this work, there must be some fundamental building blocks. What are these core blocks of AgriStack?
It starts with identity, really. First, the farmer registry. It's a federated database giving every farmer a unique digital ID linked to their Aadhaar.
One farmer, one ID.
Basically, yeah. Then, georeferenced village maps. These are digital cadastral maps, precisely locating every single plot of land using real-world coordinates.
So you know exactly who owns what piece of land and where it is, digitally.
Exactly. Those two alone create a whole new level of certainty. Who owns what, who's farming where? It cuts through so much ambiguity.
That must eliminate a ton of paperwork and disputes. What builds on that?
Next up is the crop zone registry. This uses everything from smartphone apps to images from drones and satellites to accurately record what's being grown, where, and when each season.
So you get a real-time picture of production.
Precisely. It massively improves production estimates and helps manage resources better. And then, the thing that connects it all, the Unified Farmer Service Interface, or UFSI.
UFSI.
Think of like UPI for payments, but for agricultural services. It's basically a set of standardized rules APIs that allow different systems to talk to each other securely based on farmer consent.
So banks, agri-tech companies, government agencies, they can all plug in.
Exactly. It enables secure, standards-based interaction between everyone in the ecosystem, public and private.
Okay, that interface sounds critical. But you mentioned consent. With all the sensitive data flying around land, crops, farmer details, privacy has to be a huge concern, right? And how do you make sure all these fancy new tools actually work reliably?
Absolutely. Privacy is paramount. That's where the consent manager component is vital. It acts like a digital gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper.
Yeah. It ensures a farmer's data is only shared when they give explicit permission. Think of it like approving an app to access your phone's contacts. You control who sees what. Your data remains yours.
Giving farmers control, that's crucial for trust.
Definitely. And finally, there's the AgriStack Sandbox. This is essentially a safe, simulated environment. Authorized players, banks, startups, researchers can test their new apps and services using AgriStack structure, but without affecting real-world data or operations. It allows for innovation without risk.
Right, test driving before going live. That makes sense. So this whole structure sounds like a really solid digital backbone. But how does it translate into actual tangible benefits on the ground? Do we have examples?
We do, yeah. Some really promising ones. Take PepsiCo India working with an agri-tech called Cognition. They built this predictive intelligence model for potato farming in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh.
Potatoes, okay.
Yeah. It gives farmers 10-day yield forecasts and early warnings for diseases, all through a mobile app in like 14 different languages. It helps them protect their crops, plant harvesting, real, tangible results.
Accessible information tailored to them.
Exactly. Another great example is the Agricultural Development Trust, or ADT, in Baramati, Maharashtra. They partnered with Microsoft on an AI-driven solution.
And the results.
Pretty stunning, actually. They saw over a 20% increase in crop production. Farmers cut fertilizer costs by 25%, used 8% less water, and reduced post-harvest wastage by over 12%.
Wow, those are significant numbers across the board.
They really are. These aren't just abstract benefits. They show direct, measurable improvements for farmers, proving the potential of this kind of digital infrastructure when applied effectively.
Those are definitely impressive results. What were the biggest challenges, though, in getting those projects off the ground? And how can AgriStack help scale successes like that to, well, millions more farmers across India?
Well, initially, challenges often revolve around things like digital literacy, getting farmers comfortable with the tech and building trust, especially in rural areas.
Sure, adoption takes time.
But the beauty of AgriStack's design, with its standardized data and that UFSI interface, is that it aims to overcome this. Instead of every pilot project having to reinvent the wheel for data collection or integration.
They plug into the existing framework.
Exactly. They leverage AgriStack's core components. This makes solutions much more widely applicable, easier to deploy, and ultimately more scalable across different regions and crops.
Incredible potential. Okay, let's switch gears a bit and focus on the impact on the BFSI sector, banking, financial services, insurance. What does all this mean for them? For the banks, the insurers, the fintechs?
This is where AgriStack opens up really unprecedented opportunities. For these financial institutions, it means getting access to precise, detailed insights that they simply never had before.
Granular data.
It's extremely granular. This empowers them to create highly customized financial products, manage their risks far more effectively, and, crucially, provide credit with much more confidence to those underserved rural communities we talked about earlier.
So moving from broad strokes to fine details.
Right. It shifts the paradigm from, let's say, guesswork based on averages to data-driven confidence based on individual farm realities.
That sounds like a genuine game changer, especially for financial inclusion. So when you talk about product innovation, what kind of new offerings could we see?
Well, one of the most exciting areas is embedded finance. Imagine this. A farmer is using, say, a weather app or a market price checker on their phone.
Okay.
Suddenly, they get an offer for a small ticket, completely paperless loan, pre-approved based on their farm's profile, pulled directly from AgriStack data, their land, their crops, their history.
Wow. Right there in the app.
Exactly. It makes accessing credit almost seamless, almost invisible. It directly tackles that new-to-credit, or NTC challenge, for farmers who lack a formal credit history. Think digital sachet loans for buying seeds or fertilizer right when they need it.
That is powerful. Getting the offer based on real data just when you need it, that could revolutionize access. What else?
Then there's parametric insurance, sometimes called index-based insurance. This is really interesting. Instead of waiting weeks for an insurance assessor to come out and measure your actual crop damage after, say, a drought or a flood.
Which takes forever.
You can, yeah. With parametric insurance, the payout is triggered automatically if a predefined event happens in your specific geofenced area. For example, if rainfall drops below a certain level measured by weather stations or satellites, or if a yield index for the area hits a low point.
So it's based on the event, not the specific loss calculation.
Exactly. And because AgriStack provides those precise geofenced farm maps and reliable crop data, these schemes can become truly mass market. Claims are faster, much less costly to administer, and arguably fairer because they're based on objective data triggers.
Faster, cheaper, maybe more transparent. Makes sense. And deposits.
Yeah, even deposit products. AgriStack will further boost the whole Jan Dan Aadhaar Mobile or JAM Trinity. You know that initiative linking bank accounts, IDs, and mobiles for direct benefit transfers?
Right, the JAM Trinity.
Banks can use the detailed farmer profiles from AgriStack to tailor savings products. Maybe special accounts for farmers growing export crops, or accounts designed to receive and manage government subsidies more efficiently, ensuring transparency.
Tailored products based on real needs. Okay, that's product innovation. What about making existing processes better? Process innovation.
This is huge, too. Take the Keys on Credit Card, the KCC scheme. Right now, getting a KCC loan can take anywhere from 15 to 30 days.
That long? Why?
Because of all the manual steps. Verifying the crops in the field, checking land titles legally, assessing creditworthiness. It's cumbersome.
Lots of physical checks.
Exactly. AgriStack has the potential to just eliminate many of those physical steps. By accessing verified digital land records, crop data, and farmer ID instantly via APIs, the turnaround time could potentially drop to just a few hours.
From weeks to hours, that's a monumental shift.
It really is.
And we're actually seeing this happen already, aren't we? There's that digital KCC pilot by the RBI's Innovation Hub and Union Bank in Tamil Nadu and Madhya Pradesh.
That's right. Farmers there can apply for and get paperless KCC loans up to INR 1.6 lakhs, about $1,900 entirely through a mobile or web app.
Oh.
Because the system can directly access their verified land records through APIs, thanks to the underlying digital infrastructure being put in place. It's a real-world proof of concept.
Efficiency in action. What about crop insurance processes?
Similar improvements. Take the main scheme, PMFBY, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Currently, assessing claims often relies on these things called crop cutting experiments, or CCEs.
CCEs?
Yeah, basically, they physically harvest crops in a few random plots within a larger area to estimate the average yield for that entire insurance unit, like a village or block.
Sounds a bit, approximate.
It can be. AgriStack, with its geofenced farm maps and the ability to use satellite imagery, opens the door to assessing crop loss at the plot level.
For each individual farm.
Potentially, yes, or at least much smaller, more accurate units. This makes claims assessment far more precise and efficient for individual farmers, rather than just relying on an area average. It means fairer, faster payouts based on more localized data.
Better data leading to fairer outcomes. Makes sense. And this must also impact risk management for the lenders and insurers, right? And overall governance.
Hugely. On the risk management side, that UFSI interface provides real-time and historical data. This allows for much more accurate creditworthiness assessment than ever before.
Beyond just a credit score.
Exactly. It enables predictive analytics, identifying risks specific to certain regions or crops. You could build early warning systems for potential widespread issues, like pest attacks or droughts, allowing financial institutions to be proactive, maybe offer support or restructure loans before a crisis hits.
Proactive risk management. And governance.
On the governance front, the potential is massive for reducing fraud, particularly in things like government subsidies or interest subvention schemes. With digital tracking linked to verified farmer IDs and land plots.
It's much harder to cheat the system.
Precisely. It also allows regulators to monitor how funds are actually being used much more effectively, and it empowers data-driven policymaking. Imagine being able to clearly see which geographic areas are still underbanked, or using real-time crop sowing data to adjust the focus of the PMFBY insurance scheme.
Using data for smarter policy. Okay, what's really fascinating here is how this seems to be creating a whole new ecosystem. It's not just government pushing this, it needs collaboration, right? How are financial institutions actually getting ready for this big shift?
That's a critical point. It's absolutely about embracing this evolving agri-tech fintech ecosystem. Financial institutions can't go it alone. They need to forge strong partnerships.
Like who?
Well, we're seeing partnerships, joint ventures, even co-lending agreements. You mentioned TransUnion Civil, the credit bureau, partnering with Saxshore, a satellite data company.
Right, for that combined credit and farm report.
Exactly. That gives lenders a much richer picture.
Wow.
Or look at Tractor Junction. It's a digital marketplace, but it facilitates financing for tractors and equipment by partnering directly with banks and insurers. It connects the buyer, the seller, and the financier digitally.
So collaboration is key. And they also need to adopt the tech themselves, I assume.
Absolutely. It's not just about partnering. It's about embracing state-of-the-art technologies internally. They need to get good at using GIS, geographic information systems, for analyzing spatial data. They need standardized data formats to plug into AgriStack seamlessly.
And handle all that data.
Right, which means moving towards cloud-native infrastructure. You need scalable systems to handle the sheer volume of data AgriStack will generate and process.
Makes sense. What about other cutting-edge tech? Blockchain.ai.
Definitely seeing applications there too. Blockchain is interesting for ensuring real-time processing, creating immutable records, things secure land titles, and bringing transparency to supply chains.
Like tracking produce from farm to table?
Potentially, yes. Or look at Whirl, an agri-fintech. They're offering instant loans against tokenized warehouse receipts. So a farmer stores their grain, gets a digital token representing that grain on a blockchain, and can get a loan against that token almost instantly.
Wow, turning physical crops into digital bankable assets.
Exactly. And then AI and machine learning, AML, are crucial. developing predictive models for everything better, credit risk assessment, predicting crop losses for insurance, estimating yields. The government itself is partnering with companies like Cropin to use AML for making PMFBY assessments more accurate, moving from manual estimates to intelligent forecasts.
It sounds like a massive technological and operational shift for these institutions.
It is. And that leads to the final point here. Change is not a one-shot approach. This requires a real cultural shift inside banks and insurance companies.
How so?
They need dedicated people, maybe tech liaisons, who understand and can work with the startup ecosystem. They need continuous investment in upskilling their workforce, data analysts, digital product managers. And crucially, leadership needs to enhance their own digital literacy, foster what you might call a challenger mindset.
A challenger mindset.
Yeah, being open to innovation, willing to experiment, actively driving the adoption of these new digital tools and data-driven approaches, even if it disrupts old ways of doing things. It's about fundamentally rethinking how finance interacts with agriculture.
That cultural shift might be the hardest part, but also the most necessary.
Absolutely. Tech is one thing. Changing how people think and work is another.
Looking at the big picture, it really feels like AgriStack is poised to set a global precedent. The potential impact seems enormous, maybe even on par with or possibly greater than what Aadhaar did for financial inclusion and digital payments in India.
I think that's a fair comparison. The scale and ambition are certainly remarkable. At its heart, AgriStack is tackling those core farmer pain points we discussed. Inefficient practices, poor access to credit, high costs, market uncertainty.
Addressing the root causes.
Exactly. And by doing that, it's paving the way for potentially higher agricultural production, much better food security for the country, and ultimately stronger, more inclusive economic growth. It's an ecosystem approach, building resilience from the farm level up.
It's truly transformative potential. So as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you, our listeners. As AgriStack uses cutting-edge tech and public-private partnerships to digitize such a foundational part of the economy, think about this. How could a similar unified digital infrastructure empower other key sectors, maybe globally, or perhaps even right in your own community? What foundational information, if digitized, interconnected, and shared with consent, could bridge divides and unlock completely new potential in healthcare, education, logistics, or another industry you care about? What could your sector's AgriStack look like?